In the last session, we were discussing about initialization event at selection screen, and we saw a couple of events in at selection screen, like at selection screen on field, value request, help request, and so on. Today we are going to learn at selection screen output. At selection screen output is mainly to modify your selection screen at runtime. So let us see how to modify your selection screen at runtime. I will open the report what we have done in the last session. So this is the report we have done. When I execute, see, I have some radio button here under which some 3-4 fields are there, and another radio button under which some other fields are there. Here in this case we have only one select option. But what my intention is, when I click on this first radio button, I don't want to see the fields under second radio button, and similarly when I click on a second radio button, I don't want to see the fields under first radio button, because it is confusing the end user. So end user who don't know anything, he clicks on this radio button, he will fill the sales organization, distribution and division, but he still thinks, do I need to fill that date range also? Even though if he selects this radio button, does he need to fill this? So in order to not to confuse the end user, what we will do is, we will code in such a way, like when I click on the first radio button, the fields under second radio button should disappear automatically. And the same thing, when I select the second radio button, fields under first radio button should disappear automatically. How to do this? To do this kind of selection screen dynamic changes, make use of the event at selection screen output. So I will say at selection screen output, I'll say perform modify screen, give any sort of name. In this I am giving subroutine name as modify screen. Double click on the subroutine, select the main program and create it. And before writing some sort of code in this, put some names to your selection screen fields. So we have already declared a selection screen here, right? So this is a radio button, and these are all the fields which are under first radio button. This is the second radio button, and these are the fields which are under second radio button. For each and every field, you give a modif ID. Modif ID is a alias name. This is a modif ID is a keyword which can segregate a group of fields into one name. Say for example, here I will say p_vkorg, that is the first parameter. For that, I'll give a name. The name is, for example, ABC. Okay. Similarly, for this also modified ABC. For this also modified ABC. So what I have done is, for all these three people now becoming members of this ABC group. So for all these three fields, whenever I want to modify, I will say ABC, then ABC is the group name of these three fields. Similarly, in this group, for the selector, for the second radio button, only one field is there. For that I will say modified XYZ. Even though this is the group name, in this group only one member is there. That member is S_ERDAT. In this group, there are three members: P_VKORG, VTWEG, SPART. So like this, declare your screen fields under modified is, then come to modify screen and write your code. So how to write your code here? You say loop at screen. Loop at screen has end loop. Now I will say if somebody selects radio button 1, if R1 equal to X, if R1 equal to X, that means if somebody selects radio button R1, then if screen hyphen group 1 equal to ABC, if the ABC group comes, that means any one of the field is coming, then screen hyphen active equal to 1. So whenever somebody selects the first radio button, then any one member of this ABC group is coming, make it active. That means make them visible. Else if screen hyphen group 1 is equal to XYZ, screen hyphen active equal to 0, and if so what we have done, we have looped the screen, and in the screen if R1 equal to X, that means if we have selected a first radio button and the group is ABC, then we are making active equal to 1. Active means like visibility. If you want to display the particular group, you have to put 1 here. If group XYZ comes, then I don't want to display the particular group. So this is the code which I want to write when radio button R1 is getting selected. Now when radio button R2 is getting selected, then I will say whenever ABC comes, make it 0, whenever XYZ comes, make it 1. Then here I will say finally modify screen. So this is the syntax, or this is a keyword which will modify your screen elements. So if you write all this logic and if you forget writing this modify screen, nothing will work out. So now I will save check activate this. I will save check activate this particular code. Now I will execute. See, I have selected first radio button. When I press enter, second fields are under the radio button 2, R2 is getting disappear. When I select the second radio button, press enter, the fields under first radio button is getting disappear. So it is working, but when I press manually enter on my keyboard, it is working. When I select the radio button, I press enter on my keyboard, then this is happening. Looks fine, but the end users want it like in a better way. That means they don't want to press enter every time. So they want it to happen automatically when you select the radio button. So now what I will do is I'll go back and then here against to the radio button I will say user command some name, it may be ABC XYZ or whatever. I'll give user command U1, and here I should also specify this radio button is a default radio button, because the program confuses when you are going for the first time which radio button is getting selected, whether the first radio button by default is getting selected or whether the second radio button by default is getting selected. So I will say here default X. So I'm saying by default always first radio button is getting selected, and user command U1 means this user command is a keyword for pressing the enter automatically. So previously we were pressing enter every time, and now no need to press enter again and again. So system will take care of the this functionality. So now let us save check activate. And execute. So now see automatically the fields under second radio button is not appearing. When I select this, it's automatically happening. I'm not pressing enter now every time. So when I select first radio button, only this field appears. When I select second radio button, only the fields under second field will appear. So this is how you can make use of edge selection screen output. So let me take you into edge selection screen now. Here what we have done is we try to loop at screen. Screen is a data dictionary element. Now what I will try to do is I'll take you into SE11 transaction. Here I will give something called a screen. There is a structure available in SE11 with the name screen. Have a look into this. Now what we have done, we have segregated the fields into groups. We have a group 1. Similarly, you can make use of 4 different groups. When you go for module pool program, maybe in the next coming classes we'll go for a module pool programming. There you can design your own screens. There you can see the usage of all these 4 groups. Okay. Similarly, this is the screen hyphen name. That means a field name. This is a field name. For example, here active. Active means what we have used here. This active field makes the fields visible or unvisible. But similarly, you can also make use of this input field. For example, instead of active, if I use the input, so what I'm saying here is if I put input instead of active, let us see what happening. I'm making some set of fields or some group of fields input enabled, other set of fields input disabled. So let us see how it looks like. Save, check, activate and execute. See, this field is input enabled, these fields are input disabled. I cannot give input date here. This is disabled. Okay. Similarly, when I select this radio button, these are disabled for giving the input, providing the input. So if you give input, it acts like this. And similarly, you can make use of required fields. So mandatory field, if you want to do some fields as mandatory. For example, when I select this first radio button, I want to make all these 3 fields mandatory. When I select the second radio button, I want to make all these fields mandatory under the second radio button. So when I want to do this kind of activities, then I can make use of this required fields. Okay. Similarly, there is something called invisible somewhere. Yeah. So invisible means, have you seen any invisible field till now? When you are logging into SAP, see, password field is having stars, right? So whatever you are entering, that is invisible. So this is a kind of invisible field. So if you want to make any field as an invisible field, then make use of this invisible here and try with more options. When you are free, go to this structure SE11 and try what are all the different options provided by SAP in the screen. So there is something called display 3D. There is something called color here. Try this. What is happening with the color? So there is something called values in combo. So try exploring all these things when you are free. But most of the things we generally use is this input, otherwise active, otherwise required field. We will generally make some fields as required fields and so on. So the event which is helping for this sort of activity is at selection screen output. So hope till this it is clear. Now we will go for the next event. Next event is start of selection. Start of selection. So here the event start of selection, we will write the actual business logic. So until now we have not written any business logic. What we have done is we have created a selection screen, we have defaulted some values into it in the initialization event. So at selection screen is to validate some fields. So this event on value request event is always to provide some your own F4 help. On help request is to provide your own F1 help. This is to modify the selection screen at runtime. So till now we didn't bring the data from the database tables, or we didn't perform any action. Generally in the start of selection we will write the business logic, whereas if you want to get data from different tables, you can get the data. So you may write some select query, or you may loop it and you may modify some data of the database which you got already. So now what are all the output fields which are expected from this report? We will go and get it. We'll go to SE11 table. I'll go to VBAK. VBAK is a database table. This is a sales order header. From the sales order header, for example, I will take VBELN. This is a sales document date and date on which the sales document is created, and sales document category. So these are the three fields I want from VBAK. So now what I will do is I will go on to the top. I will try to declare a structure over here. Types begin of some ty underscore VBAK or tv underscore output which I want to display. So what are all the fields I want? I want Viblen, type VBELN underscore VA. This is the data element for VBELN. Then ERDAT, type the data element for ERDAT. Then document category. For example, from this VBAK table, I am taking all these three fields. Now let us see what are all the fields we want from item level table. So item table for sales is VBAP. From this VBAP table, I want item number. Item number will be POSNR. Here you can see this is a POSNR. So the data element is POSNR underscore VA. Then material number I want. And there is something called net price or something here. So I want the net price of a particular sales document. This is the field. So like this, in your real time also, what will happen? What are all the outputs you are expected? Those will be given in a specification. In your real time, you will be given with a technical specification which clearly tells you what are all the fields that should be your report input fields, whether those fields should be parameters or select options. Similarly, what output fields the report should display, that also should be specified in a technical specification. If you gain some 4 or 5 years of experience in ABAP, based on your experience. Sometimes you need to go through functional documentation, functional specification, and prepare technical specification. So in a functional specification, they will say they want sales document category. So after having 4 or 5 years experience, you can easily understand that sales document category is available in sales document header, that is VBAK table. So you will go to VBAK table and you have to pick VBTYP. But when you are having little bit less experience, then always a technical specification will be given to you, where you have all these things mentioned. What are all your input fields, what are all your output fields. Then now here what I will do is I will declare internal table and work area data IT out. Otherwise this is a global internal table which I am declaring on the top, so I will say it as a GT out type table of TY underscore out, and similarly I will declare a work area GS underscore out type TY out. So I have declared a structure internal table work area to display my output. Now I need to get the data from these two tables. Where should I do that? I will do that in startup selection. In startup selection I will say select what are all the fields: VBELN, ERDAT, VBTYP, POSNR, MATNR, NETWR. I think I have given all the fields. Let me check. Viblen, error., VBTYP, POSNR, MATNR network. Yes. So I want these fields. When I want data from more than two tables, I should use either inner join or for all entries. This we have already discussed. So here I am going to use a for all entries. I will say from VBAK as A, inner join VBAP as B, on. Generally with the on syntax we will provide the common fields between these two tables which you are joining. So now what is the common field between VBAK and VBAP? VBELN is a common field. On A tilde VBELN equal to B tilde VBELN. After getting the data from the database, you will put it into table GT out, and now your where clause. How you will put the where clause here? When the user selects the radio button R1, when the user selects radio button R1, if R1 equal to X, in your where condition there are three parameters, right? Else, if user selects some other radio button, that means radio button 2, in your where class there is a select option. That's what we declared on the selection screen level. See here, for the radio button R1 we have given, radio button R2 we have given. For R1 there are three parameters: P underscore VKRG, VTWEG, SPART. So let me give this, where my sales organization equal to P underscore VKORG is my parameter, and VTWEG. Distribution channel is VTWEG, and division SPART is in P_SPART. So this is how I will write my select query. So let me save it and check it. So now it is saying this Viblen has two meanings. Column name Viblen is available in both the tables, that is VBAK table and VBAP table. So system confusing. So you need to specify from which table you want to bring VBELN. I want to bring it from A. A means VBAK table. Similarly, the date is also available in both the tables. Similarly, NETWR, this is a price. So I want item price, for example, then I will bring it from table B, that is VBAP table, and SPARET is also available in both the tables. So SPART is available in both the tables, but I want to get it selected from header table. So then I will give A tilde SPART. So this is how I will write my select query when somebody is selected radio button R1. So I will say this as if R1 equal to X. Do this way. Else if somebody selects the radio button, other radio button, what I want to do is, instead of putting the where condition with sales organization, distribution channel and division, I will put it with ERDAT in S underscore ERDAT, because ERDAT is a select option, so we need to use the in parameter here, right? So, and this ERDAT is available in both the tables, so I will take the header table related ERDAT, document creation date. So this is how my select query will be based on the radio button selection. Now I have different select queries. So first radio button is selected, first select query will be executed, wherein it has three fields in the where condition. Second radio button is selected, then it has only one select option in the where condition. So I will get a different content in my internal table, but my internal table is always GT underscore out. So now after this thing, now the next step is you need to display the output. Now you have some data in GT out. So now you need to display the output. To display the output, what you need to do is go to your program. Here after start of selection, you provide another event called end of selection. End of selection is optional event. It's not mandatory event. It's an optional event. If you want, you can write this event. If you don't want, whatever you are doing under end of selection, you can also do it under start of selection also. Okay, so here I will say perform display output. Double click on this perform display output. So here what I will do is I will loop my GT out, that means my internal table, and put it into GS out, that is my work area, which I have already declared, and then I will say write GS out hyphen VBELN. Then I will say GS out hyphen what else we have selected, ERDAT could be date, GS out. What are all the fields I have given in the structure? All these fields I am writing in my output. So VBTYP category, then GS out hyphen POSNR. This is the item number. GS out hyphen MATNR material number. GS out hyphen NETWR. This is the price, net price. So all these things I am writing. I will save it, check this and activate it. So my report, basic report is ready, basic list is ready to display the output. So let us see how the output comes. Say for example, now when I execute, okay, so we will go and see in the database table what is the correct sales organization, distribution channel, division, and based on that we will try to give the input to our report. So let me go to S11, go to VBAK. Here in VBAK I will give sales organization VKORG as 1000. Okay, then let us say there may be so many entries with VKORG 1000. Yes, there are so many entries. Out of so many entries, 200 entries are getting displayed here. But you can see VKORG is 1000. Then under which VTWEG, that is distribution channel, for 10 some entries are there. SPRT is 00. So what I will do is I will come here. So for 1000, 10, 00, for this combination, what are all the entries are there? I will bring it into my internal table and display the output. So when I execute now, so you are getting the output. Okay, my sales document, of what date it is created, and sales document type, then item number, material number, then price. So this is how you are getting the output. So generally this is what we will do. This is called basic list. And now we will also see the formatting options for the end user point of view. He wanted to display this output in a most beautiful way, otherwise in a better way than this. Because we have developed this report, we know that this first column indicates sales document number. But end user, he don't know. 4969 means what? He will think it may be a sales organization, or he will think it may be some other number. So we should provide some sort of headings on the top of these columns so that it will be clear for anybody who is looking into this report tomorrow. So now how to put the headings for this? So now what I'll do is I'll come back and I will say another event. We have another event after end of selection. So we have completed this event. Okay, end of selection. We have completed this event end of selection. Now we have something called a top of page. So top of page is to provide the page headings. So here I will say top of page, perform put heading. Double click on this line, perform put heading. So now here you try to put the headings. First what I'll do is I'll say write psi u line. U line means what? Underline. So I'm putting one underline. Okay. In the next line, after writing one underline, in the next line I will say psi v line. I'm putting one vertical line, comma. I will say sales report. This is my report heading. and at maybe some position number 120 or 130, I will say another vertical line, psi V line. What I have done, I have given one underline. After that, in the next line, one vertical line in the position number 1. Then the sales report, maybe I'll put at position number 40. Position number 40, sales report will come. At position number 130, another vertical line will come. In the next line, I will put another underline, psi U line. So let us see how this looks like now. Save, check, activate this. Execute. So here I'll give some input and execute. See what is coming. See some underline is coming, some vertical line is coming, sales report, everything is coming. At position number 130, another vertical line is coming. I don't want this heading on the top. I don't want this underline and so on. In the very beginning days, we have discussed, if I don't want this heading which comes by default, what I can do is I can go on to the top of my report, and here I will say no standard page heading. So this is the syntax. If you don't want the standard page heading, you can put this. Okay, so I have given this now. Let us see how it appears, how the output appears now. So now see, it looks like this. Top of page, in the top of page I have given underline first, so that underline is coming up. This is the underline, and then at position number 1, one vertical line, position number 1, or in the beginning one vertical line. Position number 40, sales report. Position number 130, another vertical line is coming. After that, in the next line, another underline is coming up here. This is the underline, but these underlines are not in our control. If you want to make this into your control, what you can do is you can say here line size. You can say your line size is 130. So now you are saying line size is 130 means your underline size will be of 130 characters. Now let us see how it looks. So now you can see here, this is a position number 1. Position number 40, that is a sales report is coming. Position number 130, one more vertical line is coming. Okay. So now I want to do something more on the top of page. So here on the next line, in the very beginning, I will say vertical line. Then at position number 3, for example, I will put a heading. What is my first field that is appearing? That is sales document number, right? So I will say sales doc number. Then, so this sales document number means this Viblen field. Okay. Then what is the next field? Date, document date. So assume this Viblen field will take around some 10 to 15 characters. Then 3 plus 15 will be 18. So around 20. At place number 20, I will say at place number 20, sales document date. Okay, so this I will give at position number 20. So date will occupy around 10 places. 20 plus 10 will be 30. So around 35 or somewhere, or 33, place number 33. I will say VBTYP, that is sales document category. So how I know all these things? If you go to the table and see the field description, the field description is available. Like you can go to the corresponding table, here in this case VBAK table, and check what is the description or what is the heading I am giving. So here I will say sales category. and at position number 40, for example, or 43, I will say item number. In single quotes I will say item number, and maybe at position number 60 I will say position number 60 I will say material number, and at position number 80 or 90 I will say net worth, that is net price. So like this, provide the headings. So I will arrange it in a better way. First position number 3, then position number 20, then we have 33, then we have something at 43, we have something at 60, we have something at 90, and then at position number 130 I will say one vertical line, so now the output will appear with the headings. See here, sales document, category. See here, what happening is the distance is not very much given, so it is getting truncated here. Then sales document category, sales document date and category both are coming very side by side. We can allocate more space. And similarly, below this headings I want to provide one more underline. Okay, so how can I do that? So here sales document date is there. After that, at position number 43 I will put sales document category, 53 item number, 70 material number, and here maybe at 100 I will give net price. And after all these headings I want to give in the next line I want to provide one psi V line, vertical line, one underline at the bottom. So when you are doing the classical reporting, you need to take care of all these positionings and so on. So when you go to ALV reports, no need to take care of these headings and all. Headings will be taken care by your program itself. So that's why nowadays, instead of doing this much work, we are getting all these headings, all these formatting options in ALV very easily. So that's why we are using ALV reports more often than this classical reporting. So now you see your headings are visible properly in proper places. Now what I want is the sales document number should appear below the sales document, and date and category, item number, all these things should appear below the headings, right? How can I do that? Actually, where is the right statements which are displaying the content? See here, what we have done is we have looped our internal table and we are writing all this data. What I'll do is here I'll put one vertical line, psi V line, one vertical line. In the every new line I'll put one vertical line, and after that in the third position my sales document begins. In 20th position sales document date begins. So whatever the positions are there, the same positions I will provide here. So for example, here I will say in the third position Veblen, and position number 20, that is ERDAT, position number 43 VBTYP, and 53 POSNR, and maybe in the 70 MATNR, and 100 net price, and then at 130 vertical line. So like this, provide the positions in your loop also in the right statement so that your output will be aligned properly. So when you are using ALV reports, all these alignments will be taken care by some function module. So now see, it is aligned properly. So now if you say sales document, under this document numbers are coming. Date means under the date only date is coming. So now everything looks fine. Okay. Now the next thing is, see, if I scroll down this output, all this output is into one page. For example, tomorrow for printing purpose, you want to divide this output into different number of pages. Then there is an option for you. On the top here you can say, after line size 130, you can say line count maybe 30 lines per page. Under that, out of these 30 lines, some 3 lines will be allocated for my footer. So as of now, we have not given any footer for our report, right? So out of these 30 lines, 3 lines will be allocated for my footer. Actually, a page is a combination of your top of page and then your report output and then the footer. What I'm saying is, now if I execute this report, let us see how it comes. So now see what happening. So these lines, line number 1, line number 2, 3, 4, 5, all these 5 lines are under your top of page. And after that, all these lines are your report output. Okay, so from the beginning, so from here, if you count till this, 27 lines will be there if you count. And remaining 3 lines, out of 30 lines, remaining 3 lines are allocated for the footer. As of now, we have not written any code for the footer. So now we are going to write code, 3 lines code for the footer, so that a complete page will appear. So how to write the footer? You should say end of page, say perform put footer. Double click on this, create a subroutine. We have 3 lines for the footer. First line, I would say write psi u line, put an underline. Then in the second line, in the very beginning, I will put one vertical line. At position number 10, I will put today's date. Comma, psi datum. At position number 70, I will put page number, that is psi PAZNO, and at position number 130, I will put one more vertical line. And then in the bottom, that means in the next line, in the third line, I'll put one underline. So now my footer is ready now. So what I'm giving in the footer, date and page number. Somewhere I have done some mistake. So here what it says, unable to interrupt 130. So where here I forgot to put the comma. So it is not able to interrupt. Okay. Now save, check, activate. Let us execute this. So now you can see one page. So the page ends here. You can increase the number of lines in the page, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 lines. If I increase, let us see how the page appears. Here I will say instead of 30, I will say 35. One more line, 36 I should provide. So actually the next page, first line is appearing here. I want to also take this out. So 36 lines per page I will give. So this is how my classical report output is appearing. So when I click this, see, this is the page number 1. As of now, I am getting page number 1. I can click on this next page button. So this is my page 2. Next page, when you click page 3, 4, 5 and so on. So this is how you can divide your classical report output into number of pages. So this is what about your classical reporting. So we have discussed all the events of your classical report basic list. With this we completed the basic list. So if you have any questions here, now let me know.